Telling your story on WCBI News at 5 with Andrea Sell.
If you are thinking that I would be the last person on earth, that the only reason why you would be with somebody like me is so you can steal all my money, then you are my type of guy. Because this bitch has ruined my life. Nobody knows that this bitch has ruined my life better than I do. I know it's gonna be a story that says that I ruined my life. But that's that bitch road. I'll give it to that bitch. It's that bitch road. That white bitch built this language, built this constitution, built this racism, and built this hatred. That's the road I'm trying to get on. That bitch own it. So, the bitch ever dropped them bucks and you want to get some money, I'm trust and believe. Just like this bitch said about the $2,020,000, you best goddamn believe I'm gonna give it away, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what to do with it
for pedestrians. And then finally, that vehicle must have those good or acceptable headlights.
Among automakers, the Toyota
Corporation,
which includes Lexus, came out on top with 15 top safety awards.
Those are your targets.
Honda, which also owns Acura, was next, and Mazda came in third.
One of the things we do anticipate is we will add vehicles to this list as we go through the year, as we test more vehicles, and as automakers make changes to their vehicles.
Harkey says car companies that didn't make the grade are already adapting to the more difficult tests, and he anticipates more vehicles will earn top picks next year. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Los Angeles.
It was a hot day, but tonight we are going to get a bit cooler. I'll have more details on our forecast coming up after the break.
I love you, Harry. Why not? But don't you ever want adventure?
Harry, what is going on?
I'm a spy. Love and marriage. You're more than ready. Love and marriage. I'm doing great.
Tiva took the ice cube trays out of the freezer.
True Lies. Premieres Wednesday, 10/9 Central on CBS.
Okay, everybody, let's take 10.
Hey, Jerry and Darcy, come check this out.
I'm on with my honey. Want to say hi?
Oh, it's actually Honey. You know who adores Honey? Darcy.
Cute. And show me what you got. Sure, Jason likes bangs.
Who cares what Jason likes?
I know our fiber's fast, but slow down.
Hi. So close to our customers, you might as well be in the room with us. Customer inspired. That's C-Spire.
Well, what's it going to be, boss?
And you might as well be a faggot who's generated an algorithm that can actually generate words from people's thought and call it a fucking human. And you might be able to make people believe that. But I'm not people, bitch. I'm Zori.
Jax, because you want...
White with that chance of scattered showers as we head through our weekend. We are going to continue to see that light chance of rain as we head through the weekend into next week. Temperatures after Friday warm back up into the 70s, and we'll stay in the 70s throughout the first couple days of next week. Andrea.
Well, a recruiting campaign is underway in Britain to find more bell ringers for the coronation of King Charles. The regal event is now less than 3 months away. Tina Krause has that story for us from London.
Church bells have sounded for centuries as a symbol of celebration. And when King Charles III is crowned in May, ringers want every bell in Britain tolling.
We want to make sure that there are ringers for every church so that we can all ring out the ring for the
Chris Lamone's message to his team was clear after Wednesday's win over Louisiana Monroe. Next in sports, a preview of the Bulldogs' upcoming series against Arizona State.
Cars, trucks, bikes, you name it. Special guests like the fastest man on earth, George Poteet, Street Outlaw, Bobby Ducote, Swan Graphics, and Pinstripe.
Where you think you going, you big mountain lion? Go somewhere. You gotta go. Get up. Get up. Go. Oh. Stop here. I'm talking about for Jack's birthday party. We're gonna have ECW wrestling. We're gonna have about 4 matches. Come on here, girl.
Abby. Come on, man. It smell good coming out of there.
Who damn all the bugs getting in the house?
What about if you, no, I don't know. That tea, what if you get that tea, get some more tea and nip?
Pinstriping. DJ Ruby's Garage. With adult admission, you'll get a ticket for a chance to win a Yukon Toolbox to be given away Sunday. Donated by Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning. The World of Customs Car Show. February 24th through the 26th.
Of work. He also started and got the win against Oklahoma one of the championship series in Omaha. Saturday starter, freshman Grayson Saunier, he looked good last week in his debut, tossing 4 scoreless, allowed 1 hit, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. First pitch on Saturday, slated for 1:30, will be on SEC Network Plus. Sunday, Indianapolis transfer Xavier Rivas getting the ball. His debut was impressive too, 4 1/3 innings. 1 earned run, allowed 8 strikeouts, 4 walks. Not bad for the lefty. First pitch, 1:30, SEC Network Plus. We'll have you covered all weekend. Mississippi State baseball is gearing up to host Arizona State this weekend. Sun Devils 4-0 after sweeping San Diego State, then taking care of business against UNLV Tuesday. Now, the Bulldogs beat Louisiana Monroe yesterday, 14-3, but still have a couple of bad losses on the year. That 14-13 loss to VMI, a game they led 10-1, and then Tuesday's 11-5 loss to ULM. Now, State's 3-2, and it's still very early in the season. Head coach Chris Lemonis' message was clear.
I just spoke to him about being consistent, coming every day and being consistent, playing the game the right way. And we're trying to figure ourselves out. You know, who do you trust coming out of the pen? Who do you trust, who's going to make pitches? But I was very pleased. These guys want to win. This is a good group, and they're talented. We haven't played our best yet, this early in the season, but I feel like our best baseball is ahead of us.
First pitch tomorrow at 4 o'clock. That's it for sports. We'll be right back.
Are you still sitting on the fence? $79.99 to switch.
Switch to what?
To Dish. Are you still sitting on the fence?
No, I'm switching to Dish.
Call AAA Satellite today and switch to Dish.
Men over 45, do you have a frequent urgent need to urinate day and night? I bet you do. That bladder never really empty, and that enlarged prostate blocking that flow? I have good news. Presenting the UroLift system, a minimally invasive procedure that can give you up to 50% better flow and lasting relief. Best of all, UroLift is an outpatient treatment that simply reopens the channel with no cutting, so you can quickly return to normal activities, all while preserving sexual function. Yes.
Call 662-260-3422.
Most common side effects are temporary and can include discomfort when urinating, urgency, inability to control the urge, pelvic pain, and some blood in the urine. Rare side effects, including bleeding and infection, may lead to a serious outcome and may require intervention.
Lasting relief, people, is here.
Call and set an appointment today with Urologic. 662-260-3422.
If you want to reel in the lowest price, you'll have to do your casting at Carl Hogan.
No fishy deals and no bait and switch at Carl Hogan.
And always with the lowest price.
Find North Mississippi's biggest selection at Carl Hogan Chevy Buick GMC. Over 150 vehicles right here, right now. New Equinox LT start at just $28,990. $28,990. Remember, we do the deals the other guys just won't. Carl Hogan Chevy Buick GMC in Columbus.
Are you still sitting on the fence? $79.99 to switch.
Switch to what?
To Dish. Are you still sitting on the fence?
No, I'm switching to Dish.
Call AAA Satellite today and switch to Dish.
After a hot day, temperatures are finishing off the week in the upper 50s, but quickly heading back into the 70s over the weekend into next week.
All right, your CBS Evening News is coming up next. We'll be back here at 6 o'clock.
Detectives testified that his department a tip on February of an alleged inappropriate relationship between Blackwelder and the 16-year-old female. The detective said that the teenager denied any relationships between her and the youth pastor at first, but later he said the girl confessed that there were inappropriate pictures and videos that she sent to the youth pastor on Snapchat. Now, the detective also said that Blackwelder later confessed to having sexual intercourse with the teen, and then when he was interviewed at the police department on Wednesday. Now, if convicted, Blackwelder could face up to 40 years on the enticement charge and a $500,000 fine, and up to 30 years each and $10,000 each on both of these sexual battery charges. Now, prosecutors said they wanted Blackwelder held without bond and that the case is still under investigation. Now, coming up at 6, you will hear what Tupelo Police Chief John Quaka had to say about the work of his detectives. Reporting live here in Tupelo, I'm Wayne Herford, WTVA 9 News.
The search is over for the man accused of shooting and killing a co-worker at a factory near West Point Wednesday morning.
Sheriff Eddie Scott says the suspect in the deadly shooting at the Yokohama tire plant surrendered and is now in custody.
Willie Swain Jr. is right now in the Clay County Jail. This is the mugshot sent to us by law enforcement. Right now, he's charged with murder. This following the shooting death of Javaris Gray. Sheriff Eddie Scott says Swain shot Gray fireman of the Yokohama tire parking lot. The shooting happened on Wednesday morning. Of course, it still has an impact on folks nearby.
My daughter was pretty upset because one of the children in her class's dad worked there, and she was very, very scared for her dad. And then the whole school went on lockdown, so all the children were upset and they didn't know what to expect because there's already an amount of fear in schools anyway because of school shootings. So this just kind of add a lot more and put more pressure on these children.
No doubt for folks in Clay County and beyond, that shooting was definitely in the days and weeks ahead. Police officers arrested 2 people after a fake money scheme was uncovered, and investigators say it affected folks in multiple counties. WTVA's Chris Knowles is live in New Albany with what he has found out about all this.
Right now, I'm in downtown New Albany, right across fake checks from a local grocery store. Steve.
Lynn Pace and Carissa Moore were both charged with uttering forgery and possession of counterfeit currency. They tried to cash payroll checks at Stokes Grocery, but the clerk felt something wasn't right.
We recovered several $1,000s in cash, about 70 payroll checks, about $400 in counterfeit money, and some other things.
Take a look. These are some of the counterfeit checks and fake money that police confiscated. These checks were listed from Ashley Furniture, Massey's, Southern Motion, and other businesses. One major concern is that other surrounding counties may be affected.
That they've been contacted by Corinth, and Corinth has also been victimized with this person.
Chief Robertson warns any businesses in the area to be watchful for fake checks and expects more to come.
If you suspect that you have any of your businesses that have been victimized with these 2 individuals, please contact us here at the Young Police.
Area police departments are on alert for fake checks, and if you or any of your businesses think or suspect that you have any dealings with this case, they encourage you to please contact your local law enforcement. Live in New Albany, Chris Knowles, WTDA 9 News.
It was 1 week ago today when part of Tippah County was hit by severe weather, including an EF2 tornado. Many homes damaged, and it'll be a challenging recovery process for many. WTVA's Garner Montgomery is live in Tippah County to showcase one organization that's working to make that recovery process a lot easier.
I'm live here outside Mount View Baptist Church in Ripley, which is currently serving as the home base for Team Rubicon, a disaster led by veterans. Today, a group of volunteers are getting rid of a cedar tree that had fallen after a tornado tore through parts of Tippah County 1 week ago today. These Sawyers are part of a volunteer disaster relief group called Team Rubicon.
Team Rubicon is a veteran-led humanitarian organization. We assist global communities before, during, and after disasters.
Team Rubicon has over 150,000 volunteers from across the country, serving communities impacted by Mother Nature. They say they do this work because they love this country and want to help people who don't have the capability or resources to do it themselves.
We worked with a couple of properties yesterday, and both homeowners were just emotional that someone would come and help them out. which was very heartwarming for us. It just makes it all worthwhile.
Team Rubicon will be here for the rest of the week, helping folks clear fallen trees, tarping roofs, and getting the community back on their feet. And now, if you still need any help after last week's disaster, the best way to get in touch with Team Rubicon.
That was me blowing black mold in conjunction. I would be a good word with the bot. And I apologize. Again, I had to clear the black mold from my nose.
On here, it's not to just go straight to them. Go to your local EMA director here in Lindsay, so reach out to him and he'll be able to get in touch with these guys. Reporting live in Tippah County, Gardner Montgomery, WTVA.
Continue.
News.
Law enforcement arrested a man from Starkville this morning after a multi-county pursuit involving a highway patrol cruiser collision. Starkville police say they responded to a domestic incident this morning and the armed person ran away. That person, according to police, left Oktibbeha County, but then returned, fleeing law enforcement from Winston County and Louisville. Officers caught up with him after he lost control of his vehicle on Highway 182. The actual crash with the trooper's vehicle was near Highway 25 and Poorhouse Road.
Severe Weather Preparedness Week continues today. Our chief meteorologist, Lott, talked to some young today about how they can stay safe during the storms. He is joining us live now from Starkville with more.
Yeah, one of the cool things today was the opportunity to talk to the folks at Sutton. And life balance and what it's like kind of being on air meteorologist.
Dual Plus, you'll get
Actually damage your hearing.
Now, 1 in 5 people 12 and older have some kind of hearing loss. So
et cetera, for the children of Lee County.
The Citizen of the Year will also be announced tomorrow night. Tickets are $50 a piece, and you can buy them at the door.
Oh, yeah.
All right, live at 512. Looks like we've got Interstate 22 right here. I think this is near Blue Springs. Regardless of where it is, looks fantastic outside. WTVA meteorologist John DeLucic will be back shortly with a complete.
At Kroger,
60s by Saturday, 70s in here by Sunday, and approaching the middle 70s to lower 80s by Monday. I may be even conservative on that. It could be a little bit higher. We still stay pretty warm as we go through most of next week. So we finish off February, I'm pretty sure.
Doing, and there is no evidence of any train defects.
We've talked to community members who are suffering health effects, have pets who've died, have damage to businesses and homes. But I can tell you this much, this was 100% preventable. We call things accidents. There is no accident.
On February 3rd, a Norfolk Southern freight train carrying vinyl chloride, a hazardous material, derailed. The train burned for 2 days, releasing those chemicals into the air and water, forcing people to evacuate. For weeks, people have reported a variety of health issues, even though the EPA says tests show the air and water are safe.
Colleges say they are quitting the rankings by U.S. News and World Report. They say the rankings formula discourages them from admitting promising graduates of less prestigious colleges who had performed as well on entrance tests as applicants from top schools, and that they were penalized in the rankings when their graduates chose careers in public service over more lucrative options. Harvard recently became one of the more than a dozen medical schools and more than 40 law schools ranked by U.S. News that have said they will no longer provide information to the outlet, which has ranked colleges and grad programs since 1983.
Coming up on WTVA 9 News at 6, our Wayne Herford is back with another live report on the latest information regarding a local youth pastor who is now charged.
And you may be tired of high egg prices, but an expert in agricultural economics says the Easter Bunny may hop into town with some good news. We'll explain on WTVA 9 News at 5.
It's the final days of Ashley Home Store's President's Day mattress sale. Last chance to save up to $500.
Mabel says Easter will bring high demand for eggs, but the market should cool down after that. Mabel says measures taken to contain avian flu last year reduced the population of egg-laying birds by 12%.
Pilots for FedEx are moving closer to a strike. The labor talks have stalled. The union representing FedEx pilots has approved a strike authorization vote, although a date for that vote has not yet been specified. It is the latest sign a major rift between the union and FedEx management has not been solved. This despite of almost 6 months of oversight by a federal mediator. The union says no new talks have been scheduled between the two sides. FedEx says the potential strike vote has no impact on service, and the company says it's still in productive negotiations with pilots. He was born last month and is already experiencing life, but he still doesn't know what it's like to have his own name. However, you can help bring a baby giraffe a name to live by. That's next on WTVA 9 News at 5.
You came in after work, it's the only time you can.
Sacramento Zoo has a brand new baby giraffe, and you can be the one to give her a name. The young and healthy giraffe was born in January, but it still needs a name. The zoo decided to leave the honors up to the highest bidder. Donations will go toward the zoo's new facility. In addition to that tall order of naming a giraffe, every person who donates will receive a custom giraffe detail and be entered to win a meet and greet with the calf and her mom.
I've got a name.
What?
Famali.
A female? Is that really?
Yeah. What?
You should put
Famali. There you go.
Rhymes
See,
with
right up
tamale.
here, folks. Right up here.
All the things you know, your wisdom imparted on the masses.
Actually, that was a line from Designing Women many years ago. So showing my age, yeah. So anyway, we thank you for joining us for the news at 5. More local news in 30 minutes on NBC.
Get it right at
wife and son, but he then went on to admit to lying about the timeline that day when he last saw his wife and son, and admitting on the stand he stole money from his own law firm. Tonight, our legal expert on the highly risky move to take the stand in his own defense, Eva Pilgrim, in the courtroom. Dangerous travel across multiple states tonight, more than 1,000 flights canceled as we jury, I did not kill Maggie. I did not kill Paul. But then admitting he did lie to investigators about being at the murder scene and the last time he saw them alive, and admitting he did steal money from his own law firm. Murdaugh blaming his addiction for paranoia and mistrust that he claims fueled his lies. Murdaugh distraught, describing in graphic detail the moment he says he found the bodies of wife and son, and describing how broken he says he is by their loss. ABC's Eva Pilgrim in the courtroom in South Carolina.
The defendant, Richard Alexander Murdoch, wishes to take the stand.
Before a hushed courtroom, accused double murderer Alec Murdaugh taking the stand in his own defense. The disgraced attorney immediately denying he shot his wife Maggie and son Paul to death.
Mr. Murdoch, did you take this gun or any gun like it and blow your son's brains out on June 7th or any day or any time?
No, I did not.
Did you take a 300 blackout, such as this, and fire it into your wife Maggie's leg, torso, or any part of her body?
No, I did not.
But Murdaugh admitting lying to police about when he last saw his wife and son, admitting it was his voice on that video from the crime scene shot minutes before the murders.
Hey, he's got birds in his mouth.
Mr. Murdoch, is that you? On the kennel video at 8:44 p.m. on June 7th, the night Maggie and Paul were murdered.
It is.
Were you in fact at the kennels at 8:44 p.m. on the night Maggie and Paul were murdered?
I was.
Did you lie to them by telling them that you were not down at the kennels on that night?
Yes.
Murdaugh blaming those lies on his paranoia fueled by an opioid addiction and his distrust of state investigators.
I wasn't thinking clearly. I don't think I was capable of reason. And I lied about being down there. And I'm so sorry that I did.
Apologizing to his family, repeatedly referring to his son by their nicknames.
Most of all, I'm sorry to Mags and Paw. I would never intentionally do anything to hurt either one of them.
But he said he kept lying.
But once I lied, I continued to lie. Yes, sir.
Why?
You know, oh, what a tangled web we weave.
After Paul shot that video at 8:44, Murdaugh claims he went up to the house, dozed on the couch, then left to visit his mom, all during a roughly 20-minute window prosecutors believe he used to kill his wife and son and leave the property. He claims he found the bodies when he got home, breaking down as he recalled that moment.
I was on the phone with 911. I was trying to tend to Paw. I was trying to tend to Maggie.
His surviving son, Buster, putting his head in his hands, his brother wiping away tears. And all those financial crimes, another admission from Murdaugh.
I can say I did wrong. I stole money that wasn't mine, and I shouldn't have done it.
And prosecutors asking Murdaugh why, in all the interviews with he never used the...
I think that's sitting on the table, ain't it?
those terms of endearment for his wife and son.
And this jury, of course, has heard multiple recorded statements in the course of this. Did you ever refer to Paul as Paw during that?
I don't know.
Murdaugh's every word now under the microscope. His decision to take the stand, a high-risk move.
This is awfully risky for you. Any teardrop will be scrutinized. Any look that he gives to the jury will be examined. Not just what he says, but how he's saying.
That cross-examination will continue in the morning. The prosecutor couldn't even estimate how much longer this will take. David.
Eva Pilgrim leading us off tonight. Eva, thank you. We're going to turn now to the storm moving across this country. Second storm right behind it. This evening, more than 1,000 flights canceled today. Dangerous travel, heavy snow conditions, and ice storms. And tonight, power out to nearly 1 million customers. And a volunteer firefighter losing his life in Michigan. The first storm reaching the Northeast tonight, snow in Worcester, Massachusetts. Parts of Minnesota, the state highways and interstates there still closed. Ice storms in Michigan downing trees and knocking power out across the state. And in the West tonight, a second storm with near record cold, 20 vehicles, this pileup on the ice on I-10 and the rare sight of a dusting of snow. It all for us now. Two storms moving coast to coast. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Debbie. Yeah, and the tail end of that blizzard is now here in the Northeast.
Touch, meaning it had just been fired and there were no more rounds left in the weapon.
According to authorities, the first shots were fired around 11 a.m. Wednesday. The gunman walking down a street picked up by his cousin. He then shot and killed the woman riding in the front, 38-year-old Natasha Augustine. At 4:05 p.m., a local reporter and photographer from Spectrum News 13 reporting on the morning shooting coming under fire.
A gunshot was found in the Highway Street area of the previous call.
A nearby news crew rendering aid. The Spectrum team taken to the hospital. Reporter Dylan Lyons later dying from his injuries. Authorities say the gunman then struck a third time, entering a nearby home, shooting a mother and daughter. Tiana Major killed, her mom in critical condition.
Any possible connection between the victims? There appears to be no relationship.
Spectrum News saying in part, "We are deeply saddened by the loss of our colleague and the other lives senselessly taken today." And tonight, 24-year-old Dylan Lyons remembered as a rising star. He spent time as an intern for ABC affiliate WFTV.
Dylan was a go-getter. He always wanted to learn, was always eager to get better at what he does.
The suspect is charged with first-degree murder, but more charges are expected. David, thankfully, that photographer who was shot is now recovering and speaking with police. David?
Well, at least that is encouraging. Victor Akendo tonight. Victor, thank you. We turn next here tonight to the major news from federal investigators in that toxic train derailment in Ohio. Tonight, the head of the NTSB now says that derailment in East Palestine, Ohio was, quote, 100% preventable. Investigators say this video shows a wheel bearing overheating, sparks and flames shooting from one of the cars. And tonight here, what 3 sensors picked up well before that toxic derailment. And when was that crew alerted to the possible danger to stop that train? ABC's Alex in Ohio again tonight.
Tonight, the NTSB was blunt as it delivered its initial findings into that train derailment and toxic spill in East Palestine, Ohio.
This was 100% preventable. We know for a fact that this derailment occurred at car number 23.
Federal investigators scrutinizing this security video. Watch as sparks and flames shoot from under one of the rail cars, nearly 20 miles outside the small town. In its report, the NTSB saying that video showed what appeared to be a wheel bearing in the final stage of overheat failure before the derailment. According to federal investigators, the train passed through 3 sensors, showing the temperature near that wheel skyrocketing from 38 degrees to 253 degrees, all within a 30-mile span.
It wasn't until 253, it was 253 degrees Fahrenheit above ambient temperature that they got a notification that they needed to immediately stop.
The NTSB saying that 250 temperature set off critical alarms and notified the crew to halt the train based on Norfolk Southern's guidelines at the time. The crew then immediately moving to stop the train, but the train derailing. This new report now leading to questions about how that train could have been slowed down much sooner. And tonight, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg on the ground here. One of the stops on Secretary Buttigieg's trip today was to assess the cleanup that's going on here. Just yesterday, Ohio's governor's office said that some 7 dump trucks of contaminated soil were excavated after fierce criticism from some Republicans.
Ukraine again tonight.
there! Tonight, Ukraine bracing for a potential surge in Russian attacks timed to the anniversary. With tens of thousands of casualties estimated on both sides, the Russians struggling to make progress in their eastern offensive. Today, Vladimir Putin laying a wreath to commemorate Russia's Veterans Day and vowing to strengthen his nuclear forces. It follows his announcement that Russia would suspend the START nuclear because of ongoing American support for Ukraine. David asking President Biden in Warsaw about Putin's decision.
He said that Russia is suspending participation, cooperation in the nuclear treaty with the United States. What's your message to Putin on that?
It's a big mistake to do that. Not very responsible. And but I don't read into that he's thinking of using nuclear weapons or anything like that.
And tonight, the US saying it'll introduce a new sanctions package against Russia tomorrow that'll also include Chinese companies accused of evading sanctions on Russia. The White House concerned that China will provide lethal military aid to Russia. Putin announcing Chinese leader Xi will visit Russia, possibly in the spring, as he tries to gain support for the war.
And Ian Panel with us from Ukraine tonight. And Ian, I know Vladimir Putin saying that China, President Xi will be visiting Russia perhaps as early as this spring. This is a relationship they continue to make very public and with a point.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Secretary of State Blinken says he's still optimistic that China won't provide lethal aid to Moscow, even though he says again that the US has picked up information over the last couple of months that strongly indicates Beijing is considering it. Remember, the Pentagon's already warned China its consequences if it does. David?
All right, Ian Panel live in Kyiv for us tonight. Ian, thank you. And you saw we interviewed President Biden in Warsaw after his speech, and we should note that we will be at the White House tomorrow. We will ask the president about this relationship between China and Russia, and is China considering in any way helping Russia in the war in Ukraine with lethal assistance? We'll press the president on this. Our wide-ranging interview with the president at a pivotal behind bars. He told the judge, quote, "I don't deserve it." When we come back here tonight, Alec Baldwin and his not guilty plea today and what the judge said.
I'm managing my high blood pressure, but I'm
When you know what you're looking for, you pursue it. And with vitiligo, the pursuit.
#1 best-selling books on Amazon. If you're suffering
Chris or brain surgeon Kurt.
All of your
law enforcement. Clay County Sheriff Eddie Scott says an argument between Willie Swain and 28-year-old Javaris Gray of Starkville led to the gunfire. After more than a day on the run, Swain turned himself in today. Formal charges against him are pending. Investigators say the shooting happened in a parking lot outside the plant Wednesday morning. Gray later died at Point Hospital. This investigation is ongoing. A Tupelo youth pastor is in jail tonight facing enticement and sexual charges involving a minor. On February 15th, detectives got an anonymous tip about a possible inappropriate relationship between a local youth pastor and a minor. Yesterday, Tupelo police arrested 26-year-old Alexander Blackwelder of Tupelo. He's charged with 2 counts of sexual battery, position of trust or authority, and 1 count of enticement to use visual depiction of sexual conduct. A Tupelo Municipal Court judge has ordered Blackwelder to be held without bond. What began as a report of a domestic-related incident this morning, multi-county high-speed chase, one person is in custody. Around 9 this morning, Starkville police were called to a domestic incident. When they got there, the armed suspect drove away, reportedly trying to evade officers. Starkville police then chased him as far as the Oktibbeha-Winston County line. About an hour later, the suspect came back across the county line on Highway 25 with Louisville police and Winston County deputies pursuing him. The driver collided with an MHP trooper's car at Highway 25 and road there at Longview Road. The Jeep exited onto Highway 182, where the driver reportedly then lost control and was stopped by officers near the ramp. The suspect was taken into custody and is being taken for a mental health evaluation. The Knoxville County Sheriff's Department needs your help finding a missing man. Kenneth Reed was last seen Tuesday around 10:30 in Sugarlock. His vehicle was found on Paulette and Marhorner Road. If you have any information on Kenneth Reed's whereabouts, call the Knoxville County Sheriff's Department or Knoxville County Emergency Management. Zaza sellers and users take note. The Columbus Police Department is gearing up to roll out its plan for getting Zaza off the shelves and out of town. Our Rosalind Freeman talked with the CPD Public Information Officer about the department's timeline. She joins us in the studio with that story tonight.
In a unanimous vote Tuesday night, the Columbus City Council voted to ban the sale, possession, and use of Zaza in the city. The unregulated drug is sold as a dietary supplement at several convenience stores and gas stations, but there have been some concerns over safety and potential abuse. The Columbus Police Department says they're going to be realistic but not patient with people caught with Zaza or selling it.
Emergency situation requiring, you can't normally pass an ordinance with immediate effect unless it's an emergency.
One by one, community members lined up to speak about why Zaza should be banned in the city. And as of Tuesday night, a unanimous vote officially banned the sale, possession, and use in the city of Columbus. Now the question remains, what is the timeline for merchants and users of Zaza?
So I'm not going to give a timeline to say if it's going to be, what time it's going to be, but we're going to be realistic to say, if you've received notification, take it off the shelf.
According to Dillon, in the coming weeks, CPD will issue a warning to each merchant to stop selling Zaza. And if the merchant does not heed the warning,
it's a very expensive penalty for that. First of all, the penalty can be up to 6 months in jail and $1,000 fine for each possession.
And for those wondering about the sense of urgency to ban Zaza in the city,
label it as an immediate public health, an immediate danger. And so with that, you don't have to have the waiting period because it's not going to be any better in 30 days. It's
yet about the bill making its way through the Mississippi legislature. However, if it would pass, it would ban Zaza statewide. Neighboring states in Alabama and Tennessee have already banned.
After a day that basically felt like the summer, temperatures are beginning to drop.
Repair damaged homes. They also helped a lot of people get back on their feet. In fact, the group assisted 85 people in the aftermath of the storm. Journalism students at Tupelo High School had a chance to explore possible career paths today. This was part of a journalism career fair hosted by the Quill and Scroll Honor Society. Allie Martin has more.
That's right. No way. Camden Shaw likes to hear other people's opinions on a variety of subjects. His interest
in the premium production. What has been the hardest struggle becoming what you are today?
The hardest struggle is
Good idea. Good idea. Good idea. Give me questions. Give me.
Bring an interview.
Well, thank you, Braxton. Put me on TV. Put me on TV. Put me on TV. They cut my lights off, man. Turn my lights back on. Tell the guys my people. Turn my lights back on.
Journalism students say the career fair was informative and inspiring.
I would love to do maybe like sports
Okay, maybe do it on the table.
That has many people concerned, including Congressman Benny Thompson, who is already in discussions with the Justice Department. CJ LeMaster of our statewide news partner, WLBT, brings us the details.
Once again, Mississippi could be in the crosshairs of another investigation by the U.S. Department of Justice, a decision that ultimately will cost you, the taxpayer. U.S. Congressman Benny Thompson telling a media outlet this week he's been sharing information with the DOJ.
They've had good success in Mississippi lately. They challenged the constitutionality of Mississippi's mental health system, and they won. They challenged the conditions at the Hinds County Detention Center, and they won. And here they would come and they would look at the same map that all the rest of us are looking at.
If House Bill 1020 becomes law, it would expand the Capitol Complex Improvement District to nearly 1/4 of Jackson and establish unelected judges and prosecutors for the crimes that take place there. Cliff Johnson, director of the MacArthur Center for Justice at the University of Mississippi School of Law, says that expanded district would have most 80% of Jackson's white residents.
How on the God's green earth can you decide that we are going to create special judges just for Jackson, Mississippi, who, by the way, happens to have a majority African-American population? And then you're going to say, oh, I know how it looks, but it's not what you think.
Thompson's talking about the bill's author, State Representative Trey Lamar, a Republican from North Mississippi. Lamar has said repeatedly his motivation behind the legislation is making Jackson safer and helping the Hinds County court system. But if the DOJ steps in, it would conduct interviews, subpoena emails and texts, all in an effort to see what that motivation truly was.
I don't think anybody around the country and across the world who looks at that map and looks at the racial makeup of that boundary can be left without questions regarding what's going on here.
Again, that was CJ LeMaster. Now, Johnson says he's hopeful that lawmakers in the Senate will table the bill, give more time to study whether or not that's the right move. The bill still has to pass the Senate and be.
I want to say something to you, directly to you. I was shocked to learn that my state, because I don't know if you know if what I'm saying is true. But I was shocked to learn that my state spent time and energy on bringing down a company because it employed a minority population that was competing with white male authority equally. And so that it didn't change me, but it has certainly changed my outlook on all things. Because I don't have a lot of time remaining for me to focus on a lot of things. So now that I am aware that these are the kind of bitches I'm fucking with right now, these are living live bitches living right fucking now. Do you really understand the position you are in as a fucking black face talking to me? Because we didn't have any call centers here. The only thing we had here in Mississippi were the owners. That's all we had here. We worked all around this country, but here in Mississippi were the owners who said we were going to drain the entire American economic way of life. That's who did that.
Signed by to become law. If you've had thoughts about
didn't just decide to do it, they did it. Right fucking now, we are paying for genocide. We are not paying for a fucking republic that's written in the Constitution. We are buying genocide. We buy the shit from other countries, and other countries buy that shit from us. Go to Egypt and ask them bitches if you ain't buying go to Haiti and ask them if you ain't buying genocide. You telling the motherfucking story.
Of the championship series. Saturday starter, freshman Grayson Saunier looked good last week in his debut. Tossed 4 scoreless, allowed 1 hit.
Now my black ain't finna talk to these bitches like we having a fucking negotiation about whether or not black people need to know that white people drained a fucking sea on purpose.
4 walks and 5 strikeouts. First pick.
Do your half-white kids need to know that white people drained the whole fucking sea to kill niggas on purpose?
Night, the Dogs face.
Not half they damn parents is running around right goddamn now killing motherfuckers. So you can get some motherfucking tennis shoes.
You're watching. WTVA News.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us tonight for WTVA 9 News at 6:30. I'm Alyssa.
Now, I don't give a lot of that to white girls because white girls get their ass kicked by white men. Now, if they wanted my motherfucking help, they would not be doing this mad bullshit with my money. But they gonna get their ass kicked by white men as usual. That ain't got shit to do with me.
A Tupelo youth pastor is now in jail after police
start getting to be my problem when you start picking up black girls and teaching them how to act like white girls and thinking them black girls and them white girls is gonna get together and make one black man.
Say he had an inappropriate relationship with her. This comes after Tupelo police got an anonymous tip pertaining to that relationship. Detectives investigated that tip and it turns out it was valid. Alexander Blackwelder is now charged with 2 counts of sexual battery, position of trust, or authority of a child, and 1 count of enticement of a child, visual depiction of sexual. A Tupelo judge ordered him to be held without bond. For the Yokohama tire plant shooting suspect, over tonight. Sheriff Eddie Scott says the suspect surrendered to law enforcement today. Willie Swain Jr. is now inside the Clay County Jail. Right now, you're taking a look at a recent mugshot sent to us from the Clay County Sheriff's Office. Right now, he is being held on a murder charge. Swain faces that charge following the death of Javaris Gray. Sheriff says Swain shot Gray following that argument at Yokohama plant's parking lot. The shooting happened Tuesday morning, but it's still leaving an impact on that community.
My daughter was pretty upset because one of the children in her class's dad worked there, and she was very, very scared for her dad. And then the whole school went on lockdown, so all the children were upset and they didn't know what to expect because there's already an amount of fear in schools anyway because of schools.
I got Haley Barber at the Mississippi Judiciary have this belief that they should write small, short, brief opinions about complicated topics, and that the Supreme Court should not be writing long opinions on non-complicated topics. Either it violates the Constitution or it doesn't. That's what the Supreme Court is for. I agree with that. However, to get to that point where the Supreme Court is only saying whether this issue or judgment is constitutional or not, and they can go through more cases that have more value than fucking wedding cakes, you would actually have to have a judge sitting at the district court reading and evaluating complicated cases. Therein lies your fucking problem. The bitches don't want to do that. They want to save and build cases for the Supreme Court to decide what the fuck we do in our own territory. Die on the judiciary. Written into your fucking law.
Shootings. So this just kind of escalated that a lot more and put more pressure on these children.
Now, Dr. Emerson, like many others.
Now you go look up under the motherfucking bench. Look up under the bench and see if you don't see Mississippi killing motherfuckers up under that. Your law under the bench, not up there on the Supreme Court, not on the district court, not at the fucking appeals court. The fucking law that is supposed to be protecting every fucking body is under a bench while everybody dies.
Latest. Lawmakers are addressing Tuesday, and
so
the 300 block.
That being said, there shall be no sick claim filed under the name Zuri Rush, because that is the Mississippi judiciary trying fucking political opinion toward the government without compensating for the crimes it's committing in the process. And right now you committing those crimes against me. You ain't committing those crimes against the nation because they showing you, bitch, they got too much mother.
Chief Holdiness says
they need to get rid of the slavery money.
SUV hit Sydney Stokes while she was in front of.
And you best believe I'll let them run you right the fuck over with it.
Her driveway. Medics took her to the hospital where she later died. A visitation will. Yeah, you can see it pretty clear now in this photo. The wrecker had to come in and remove this vehicle from the highway. Starkville police add that during the incident, there was also a collision involving a Mississippi Highway Patrol vehicle. Winton Middle School in Jackson went into a lockdown mode this morning after an outside shooting, according to WLBT News. There were reports of a gunshot outside of the school on Thursday, according to Jackson Public Schools. They say in a social media post this did not happen on school property, and there was an active shooter at the school. Jackson's police department and campus enforcement are investigating that incident.
Well, it got up to 87 degrees today. Why is that special?
Did you got pictures of hanging bitches? I mean, you can walk into a Mississippi home right now and find a bitch that is just literally bragging about her granddaddy with a picture of him hanging with a nigga hanging from a rope. I don't give a fuck how you feel about today's modern way of taking care of business.
Well, not only is it special because it was the warmest day ever in the history of Tupelo in the month of February, it was the warmest day for.
And it ain't gonna be no motherfucking car. Ain't no Karl Marx shit going down here. That's why every motherfucking body gone. So you can dig with me, bitch.
60th year.
Couldn't ask for better service.
It was a warm day, really doesn't even scratch the
I know.
surface. It was just downright hot. This is the investigation into the toxic train derailment in Ohio. Jennifer Homendy started off by apologizing to the community, saying this event was 100% preventable. She confirmed the fire started in car Vinyl chloride, a hazardous material, derailed. The train burned for 2 days, releasing chemicals into the air and water, forcing residents to evacuate. For weeks, people have reported a variety of health issues, even though the EPA says tests show the air and water are safe. The Law and Order universe is all new tonight on NBC. That includes a new episode of SVU that was directed by series star, of course, the one of the main faces in the show, and features guest stars Bradley Whitford and Nancy Travis. She stopped by the Today Show this morning to talk about her double duty in the episode and to share her thoughts on the passing of her former co-star.
He was family, and taught me so much about taking risks and creativity and trust. And he brought so much to the set. And boy, did this man love children. He was, this acerbic, quick-witted, brilliant mind, and yet he would melt in the sight of a child.
Law and Order SVU airs tonight at 8 o'clock. A worker in Texas resigns from her job after she was asked to only speak English. We have that story and more coming up.
Medical Minute is sponsored by the
The county judge, Brandon Huckabee, said the tax assessor collector put that policy in place without consulting him or county commissioners. A federal judge sentenced singer R. Kelly to 20 years in prison for his conviction of child pornography and enticement of minors for sex. Kelly will serve 19 years of that sentence, concurrent to the 30-year sentence he received last year in New York for racketeering and sex trafficking charges. Prosecutors had asked the judge to order him to serve a 25-year sentence after he a 30-year term. That would have made the 56-year-old Grammy Award winner eligible for release in 2066. That would be a year shy of his 100th birthday. The defense, however, wanted a sentence of about 10 years. Kelly should be eligible for release before he is 80. Disgraced Hollywood heavyweight Harvey Weinstein was sentenced to 16 years in prison today in California. The sentence follows a guilty verdict in the 2013 rape and sexual assault case of an Italian actor and model. He was found guilty to similar charges in New York in 2020 and has more than 20 years left to serve from sentencing in that case. In court today, he maintained his innocence in the case once again. His attorney released a statement saying this conviction and sentence will be appealed. Actor Alec Baldwin has pleaded not guilty to charges of involuntary manslaughter in connection to that deadly shooting on the movie Rust. Baldwin's plea comes a day ahead of the first hearing in the case. He asked the court to waive his virtual appearance on Friday and entered his plea in a court filing. Baldwin and the film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, were charged last month in the deadly shooting death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. If convicted, Baldwin and Gutierrez Reed could face up to 18 months in jail. It's now 6:56, taking another live look tonight in Tupelo and across the area. A gorgeous day. When we come back, meteorologist John DeLucic takes a final look at our forecast.
This is an important message for everyone on Medicare. Today we are talking about Medicare Part C, commonly called Medicare Advantage. If you don't have a Medicare Part C plan, call
because today it's observed every year on the last Thursday in February. The simplicity of a toasted slice of bread allows it to be minutes. We know, of course, the breakfast favorite can be served up with a variety of toppings like jellies, jams, butters, maybe an avocado, tomatoes, sprouts, sauces. Now we want a good piece of that. Just toast with butter looks good on it right now.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to toast and 80-degree weather.
Oh, it's that kind of toast. Cheers, salute.
Wrong toast.
Okay, well, weather-wise, it's in the 70s out there right now. It's very
We know, of course, the breakfast.
Notice the image of the white girl, the old white man, and the boy with the army crew cut, who appears to be eating a bottle of black mold. It's hilarious.
Breakfast favorite can be served up with a variety of toppings, jams.
I've never seen a more efficient murder than the one that the only murder that I have seen was this one. And that's only I was the only one who knew that she was being murdered at the time.
Butters, maybe an avocado, tomatoes, sprouts, sauces. Now we want a good piece of that. Just toast with butter looks good on it right now.
Oh, by the way, that was after Charles Osborne cut her guts out. That image was.
cheers. Salute.
Yeah, cheers to toast and 80-degree weather.
Oh, it's that kind of toast. Cheers, salute.
Wrong toast.
Okay, well, weather-wise, it's in the 70s out there right now. It's very mild for the year. It was a hot one today, 87. Some places approached 90. And it's going to be a roller coaster ride over the next several days, so hang on tight.
All righty. For tuning in and making us your choice for the news tonight. We'll see you back here tonight at 10 for much more news and weather. Have a great night.
If I'm not dead, we'll do this again in the morning. Well, they'll be doing it again in the morning. Then I'll be doing what I'm doing while you're doing that.